TIL, a Princeton University undergraduate, designed an atomic bomb for his term paper. When American nuclear scientists said it would work, the FBI confiscated his paper and classified it. Few months later he was contacted by French and Pakistani officials who offered to buy his design. He got an A. So all these other countries were willing to pay him money for his design. What did the US offer him? The Libyans would also have been interested, but they already had a deal with Doc Brown. If I remember correctly, all of his information came from declassified material. This prompted Reagan to tell librarians to monitor their patrons and be on the lookout for people looking up that type of stuff. The librarians pretty much told him to stuff it, that they weren't in the monitoring business. Not a nuclear physicist, but I'm pretty sure the design aspects of an atomic/fission bomb are straightforward and worked out well enough from basic principles of physics. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the big challenge in developing nuclear weapons is the acquisition or production of the actual fissile material, either U-238 or plutonium. Forget the weight. Thus the scrutiny of Iran's very centrifuges and breeder reactors to ensure they don't get enough material stockpiled to make a bomb. Heck, South Africa, Pakistan, India, Israel, China, and North Korea have all developed/tested nuclear weapons. Not counting the original Allies and Soviet Union back in the day. Yeah, I looked into this in college. The physics is pretty straightforward. The tricky part is how to create the imploding shockwave that compresses the core of fissile material to critical mass. This guy actually got some official to tell him what explosive they used, so it was just simple calculations from there. Couldn't even get an A+. That prof was a hard ass. Sounds like he bombed that paper. Why were the French interested? They already had nukes at that time, and that student only designed an A bomb. Did they want to suppress his work? Till 50% of this thread apparently contains nuclear experts. Russia and China offered to torture him for it. Fun 80s movie loosely based on the story. The Manhattan Project, https://www.imdb.com/title/tt0091472/. My dad went to school with him. He would mention this guy, and I never believed him. It was sort of debatable whether it would have worked. Whether the weapon as designed would have actually exploded was questioned. Dr. Frank Chilton, a California nuclear scientist who at that time specialized in nuclear explosion engineering, said Phillips's design was pretty much guaranteed to work. 6. However, Phillips faculty advisor Freeman Dyson, a renowned physicist, and Professor Harold Pheveson, who held the seminar, said Phillips' design was not functional. 7. Nevertheless, the Federal Bureau of Investigation confiscated Phillips's term paper and a mock-up he had constructed in his dormitory room. https://en. Wikipedia, org/wiki/John_Aristotle_Phillips. Now I am become death, destroyer of worlds. This is a simplified version of the original statement. This is also the most commonly spoken phrase, regarding the original. Cool Clock Ahmed. The attached article did not mention French or Pakistani officials contacting Phillips. Moreover, France already had nuclear weapons since at least 1966. Did he sell it? Further scrutiny intensifies. A similar thing with David Bohm, who was at Berkeley. Without security clearance, Bohm was denied access to his own work. Not only would he be barred from defending his thesis, he was not even allowed to write his own thesis in the first place. To satisfy the university, Oppenheimer certified that Bohm had successfully completed the research. Source: https://en. Wikipedia, org/wiki/David_Bohm. Wait, I'm confused. The FBI confiscated it and classified it, but somehow French and Pakistani officials knew about the classified materials. Didn't bomb that one, I guess. The government had the right to restrict the information anyway because of the born secret doctrine of the Atomic Energy Act. The Born Secret Doctrine is a permanent gag order established to restrict all public discussion of an entire subject matter, in this case nuclear weapons. WTF? The difference between a real Ivy League student and the rest of us is that he goes through all this extra shit just to churn out a paper with actual value, while everyone else just finds a way to get by with the least amount of work possible. Not an A+. If I remember right, he was about to flunk out as well. I read his paper on this years ago. As an aside, if you want to read a really good book about the development of atomic weapons, The Making of the Atomic Bomb by Richard Rhodes is great. I would have sold my designs to every country. At least I'd be rich before I got nuked. He later became a member of Dead Cell and under codename Fatman. If I were a puppet master back then, I would have found a similar paper that was bullshit, then classified it, then leaked it. A rival nation may have wasted years on that dead-end research thinking it was valid. Professors never change. Foreign nations offered to buy the design before he got his grade back. /s. Not going to lie. It is a lot easier to design an unstable reactor than a stable one, and I only have a nuke and miner. There is a very thin line between OK and Chernobyl, albeit most modern designed reactor, aka not Russian, have built-in features, negative feedback loop with energy as the temperature increases, to prevent a real clusterfuck. There is the K effective factor or effective neutron reproduction factor that dictates if a reactor is critical or subcritical, if the nuclear reaction is self-powering and replicating, which is exactly 1. A well-designed reactor has a K effective of about 1.001 or less so that the reaction can be controlled. A K effective of just 1.2, which is about the natural rate of 5 or so % enriched uranium, means that the energy output doubles in a fraction of a second, and continues to do so until it burns it set out or something bad happens, which is uncontrollable. This sort of demonstrated in the Chernobyl documentary when the power out of the reactor before it explodes goes through the roof, literally, which would have a high effective reproduction factor due to almost none of the control rods being in the reactor, which lowers the K effective. The only way to prevent a rogue state, or person, from makes atomic weapons is by not allowing them to get enriched uranium. The bomb part is easy, especially with highly enriched uranium, which is what they use in bombs and such. With that being said, a dirty bomb is easy AF, and you don't even really need enriched uranium if you know what you are doing. For instance, Canadian nuclear reactors utilize unenriched uranium with a heavy water moderator, and that base K effective is higher than USA commercial reactors with slight uranium enrichment. Anyways, nuke-eng is interesting, more than my major TBH. 8K upvotes on the sensationalist headline and only 1.6K on the clarification, 7 awards though. An apt description of today's general society. I was under the impression the knowledge of atomic and nuclear bombs wasn't really very secret at all, and that the actual difficult part of building an atomic bomb was acquiring the materials themselves, not the knowledge. So, Leonard Hofstadter did go to a pretty cool college. I guess. The FBI stole my homework. His daughter went to my high school and he came and spoke about it to us at an assembly. He told us that he got called by the Iranian government once in his dorm and that he wasn't that great of a student until then. Pretty humble guy and couldn't have been any nicer. Where on that page did it mention his grade or the Pakistanis? That man's name? Albert Einstein. The article said there's a born secret doctrine of the Atomic Energy Act. That's wild. Isn't the hard part of the process obtaining the materials needed? I'm sure many countries have the capability to design a functioning bomb, but either are prohibited from gathering materials or have zero interest in doing so. The big deal wasn't that he designed a bomb, but more that he designed one the size of a beach ball, as well as how to get one using practical means.